Alright, so here's a video where I'll show you how to create some stairs. I was thinking about what I might create, and so I kept thinking about stairs, like a staircase. So I decided to do that. If you have any suggestions for things to create, let me know. But this is what you start off with when you open the program. Basically the 3D scene over here and then the tile set on the right. But we want to create a blank tile set. So let's do that. And let's start off with 6 tiles by 6 tiles. Yeah, I guess that's alright. So we have our tile set over here. We could zoom in by holding Control and pressing the plus and minus keys, or you could click this and select a magnification level. So we could create our own tile set. We could draw it, all the details in the painting tab, or we could import our own tile set if we have one. We could choose an image and open it. So it's up to you whether you want to use like an external paint program to create something, or if you already have a tile set to use, you can do that. You could also export what you've worked on. So we just select the portion that we want to edit. Let's say we want to edit this tile, we'll just click it, go into the tile set, and then we can start drawing over it. You could use the bracket keys to change the size of the pencil tool, or you could adjust this slider here. And you know, if you're just starting off with a tile set, you might just want to like draw some basic details to get a generalized feel for what the tile will represent, like what part of the object. So in this case, since we're drawing like a staircase, maybe it could be like a board, like a wooden board, the top here. And I held shift while I drew and dragged to the left and right to make it horizontal. You could also hold shift and just click to draw straight lines. Control Z undoes. But let's say that's the side of the staircase. We could have like the staircase going up this direction maybe. And then we could have like another tile set, or another tile that represents this one over here. So we could draw those tiles and then go into the paint tab and then draw some kind of detail like that. And if we go into like edit mode by pressing tab, then we could like edit the tiles. I'm gonna change the white background because it kind of blends in with the vertices. So I just select all the tiles, go to paint tab, select the paint bucket, and choose another color. Maybe this color. So if you're in draw mode, the tile will be what you selected in the tile set. So if you select multiple tiles, then your tile brush becomes, you know, that size, that selection in tile set. So anyways, we could edit these tiles. We could just select them or the vertices and like move things around. Like if I want to create this tile, if I want to make it more triangular instead of a square, we could do that. But notice how this tile is split in two triangles, and it's split in this diagonal direction. We could flip that over to the other direction. We could right click and go to faces and flip edge. There's also a shortcut, Shift F. But what this does is it changes that division in the tile to go the other way. And we could do it for this other tile as well. Just hold Shift F and it'll flip the edge there. And then say we could drag this tile. We could just click and drag it with the left mouse button. And if we want to snap that vertice that we're dragging to another vertice, we just hold Shift down and then hover over another vertice and it'll snap to that vertice. So now we have like this triangular tile here that's not square. So in some cases you may want to do that. Or if you don't want to drag the tile, you could just click it and then use the WASD keys to move it around. Like that. And then Control D to deselect it. So it might help to like draw a little more detail onto the tiles, just so that we get a bit of context for what it is. You can kind of like use these preset colors or define your own down here with the RGB sliders, and you could change it to HSL, hue, saturation, and luminance if you want. Depends what you're comfortable with. Oops. So I also have a tablet here that I use for drawing, and it's a little easier than using a mouse. So I'm going to switch and start using that. If you hold Alt, you could eyedrop a color. That makes it easy just to like switch between colors. Okay, so it's a little bit more detail, and now let's add another tile. So you kind of want to plan out where you want to position your tiles in the tile set, but if you could also move the tiles later on if you want to. You just select the tile and then right click and drag it, and it will flip it with the other tile that you're hovering over. So that's one way to like rearrange stuff that you're working on. seems like there's a bug, so I'll have to look into that. Okay, so for this one, I'm thinking it's like the top of the stair. We can go into draw mode and draw it there so that we can see how it's connects with the side of it. But I'm not sure like with the direction of it, so let's see. Maybe you could just draw a little detail somewhere so you can get a sense for the direction in the scene. So like that could be like the edge of the tile. So now notice how like they're not the correct direction. So you could draw over it, but we need to rotate the tile. So we could press Q or E to rotate it, and then just draw over it like that. And then we can move the 3D crosshair up, holding space and using W and S to move it forward and back. This moves it forward and back relative to the direction that the camera's facing. Okay, so now we need the front side of the stairs, steps or whatever. I guess I'll draw it in this tile. You can select the multiple tiles and then just draw across like that. See how that looks. Probably want to change that pixel over there, or we could create another tile that's like further along. And you could hold spacebar to pan, as you can see. So you don't have to use the scroll bar down here, you just hold spacebar. Okay, so now we could select this one and draw over that, and then we don't have that little pixel there. You could also hold Alt and right click on a tile to select that tile in the 3D scene. For example, right click that, and now the tile becomes that tile. Kind of like the eyedropper tool in the paint tab, but in the 3D scene. So you hold Alt, right click, and then you could also hold Alt and left click to assign that tile to another, assign the UVs of the tile brush to the tile that you click on. If that makes sense. This is the first video that I'm creating, and then kind of rushing through it. So hopefully my explanations are clear. So let's do the underside of it. How about select those tiles and then choose one of these darker shades and just do that. Switch to the paint bucket tool. Oops, don't want to do that. So we have to select the contiguous option, and that'll just paint the specific area that we clicked. Because this was unselected, it paints over all the same pixels of the same color, like that. So you have to have it selected if you want just a specific area of color, like that. Okay, so we have this, and maybe draw a few details just that we know, like the orientation of it. We could erase these details later if we want, just like that, and then align the crosshair to the bottom one. But notice how we want to move the top vertices over. We can click the vertices like that and then move it, but notice how it drags the other vertices because we also selected those at the same time. So what we can do is click the face. Well, there's multiple things we could do. We can move the face out this way and then click the bottom vertices and move those back over. Or we could hit Control A and it'll select all the vertices of the selected face. Then we can just deselect the face, hold Alt and right click to deselect those bottom vertices, and we can just move the top vertices over like that. So that's one way of doing it. There are other ways of doing it too. So let's move that back over and just show you how to do different things. You could just select it all like that. Then we can select these vertices down here, left click and drag, move those back over. So there may be instances where we just want to select like one vertice, but we have like multiple vertices selected at the same time. So we just deselect, select the sometimes these arrow helpers get in the way, so we could disable that. I generally don't use them, but some people like using them, so it's okay. And basically what the arrow helpers do, if you don't know what they do, if you have something selected, you could use the arrows to kind of click and drag them to move. That's another way of editing things. And there's also a rotate and resize. Let's disable those. But what I was saying before is sometimes you select multiple vertices and you only want to move one. So you could just select the face or the faces. And another way of and then you could just select the vertice, like move the face out, select the vertice, move the face back, and then now you just have that one vertice selected. Or another way of doing it is going into active select mode by hitting the middle mouse key or button. And then what this does is prevents you from editing other stuff and selecting other stuff in the scene. You could only edit what is highlighted green. So in this way, you could just select the vertice like that. Or wait a second. like that. And it'll just edit whatever is part of the active selection. And then you hit middle mouse button key to get out of that, or you could hit Shift Enter as well. So anyways, let's move on. So we could copy this and just paste it. Control C and Control V to paste, and then move those like that. Copy paste, move those. Now let's say we want to do the other side of the staircase. We could redraw the others on the other side. We could basically recreate this side and draw all the tiles and do the same thing. Or we could just copy this and then paste it and then move it. And then like flip it. So we could like go into the menu and flip or mirror. Flip will flip it across the vertical division. What's the right word? I don't know. Mirroring it flips it like up and down, and then flipping it flips it left and right, and it does it relative to the camera. So if we hit F, it'll flip it like that. Is that right? Oh yeah, flip is top and bottom, mirrors left and right. Yeah, that's right. So notice how if we flip it, everything becomes like reversed. Like the faces become reversed. And we want to, in this case, we want to mirror it left and to right. So we hit R and it'll mirror it. But notice how the faces are kind of reversed. So we need to reverse the faces. And to do that, you could right click and go to faces and reverse face. Or we could hold Shift and press R to do the same thing. And then we could just move it into place like that. And the flipping and mirroring flips it or mirrors it across the 3D crosshair position relative to the 3D crosshair position in the camera direction. So for example, we hit mirror here, mirrors it based on where the 3D crosshair is. So if we move the crosshair over there and do the same thing, all of a sudden it mirrors it way over there because it's mirroring it across this line right there. If we mirror it from this direction, or rather from this direction, so we could see it, doesn't really do anything because the 3D crosshair line was there. So let's mirror it from there. So basically it's mirroring across this plane that runs along the 3D crosshair. Anyways, let's move on. Okay, so what's next? From here, this is basically like a basic staircase we have right now, and we may want to, oh well, there's a couple things we could do. For instance, we could like select everything, hold shift and select all the faces like that. Notice how these back faces weren't selected because we have camera based selection on. If we turned it off, if we turned camera based selection off and select all the faces, it would select everything, even stuff that's like hidden behind other faces and tiles. Generally, I like to keep it on though, and just select what I see, like that. We could turn this into an object by right-clicking and go into Faces and then Create Object. So now this whole thing is like its own entity. And then we could go into the Scene tab, and this is the object that we just created. And we could rename it like Stairs. Oops. We could also hide and show it. But if we click on it and then go back here and go into draw mode, now we can draw it. So we could like draw it up here. But notice how it's like positioned weird relative to where my mouse is. That's because it creates the origin point wherever your crosshair position was. So we could edit that. We go into edit mode, select the object that we want to edit, and then we could right click and edit object, or we could just hit enter, and now there's this yellow box around it showing that we're in the object edit mode. And then now we could go over here in the Scene tab and click the origin point, and it will get shown via the triangle over here, and we can reposition that triangle to where the 3D crosshair is. So just choose a position, let's say I don't know, maybe there, and then hit this button, move point to crosshair, and there we go. Now that triangle is located there. And we could also add other points if we wanted to use things for like reference later, and then export that data. But anyways, now just hit enter to exit out of object edit mode. Now if we start drawing it, it'll get positioned where our mouse is, basically. And in this, while we're doing this, you could hold Q and E to like rotate the object, basically. Or you could just edit, or just select what you want and then rotate it. Reposition stuff that way. Control Shift D to deselect objects. And if you edit one object, all the changes occur for all the other objects, as you can see. So now we have like this staircase that changes direction, and you may want to add another section over here. So you could go over here, select a tile, maybe this tile, or maybe this tile. No, maybe this tile. I don't know, I'll just select all of them and then paint over. You could use the selection tool over here and click an area. You could hold Control to snap to the tiles and then hit G, switch over to the paint tab, then Control D, deselect that. So now the areas, that. Go into draw mode, paint some tiles. Oh, since I was in object mode, object edit mode, those tiles got added to the object, so now they're also up there. But I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to go into edit mode and exit the object edit that I'm editing. Now I could draw some tiles that are on their own, like that. Maybe I want to create another tile here. Maybe like that. Maybe like that. Oops. Okay, select that. Now we have that tile. Draw it like that. We could let's see. You copy that tile, go out of object edit mode, paste that tile, rotate it down like that. So now we have like this staircase that kind of winds around. We could also copy that, paste, reverse it like that. Oops. Okay. Looks pretty good. Maybe you want to cover up the bottom. Just do that. And then select that. Look up and then paint those tiles. Okay, so what next? And you could like improve the tiles as you go. Like I'm just kind of doing this quickly to as an example, showing you. But you could make the tiles look nicer by like adding more detail or shading or better colors and that sort of thing. For example, if you want to go over here and create a specific color, you could just do that and then right click and add color, and now there's a new color here, and you could click and drag the colors around. If you want to remove one, you can remove the color. And you could save, load. You could even hide and show it if you want. Your own palettes. Okay, so let's see. I could add like a railing, stair railing to it. But it depends how detailed you want to go with it. You could like 3D model the actual pieces of the stair railing, or you could just draw it if you want. Like for example, maybe if I select these tiles, go into painting, I could select these, and then I can hold control and drag it to kind of clip that area, and then hit delete. It'll delete it, make it all transparent. Oh wow, now I can't tell where the end is. That's weird. Maybe I should create like a border to the selection. Okay. Always improving the program. We gotta update stuff. Okay, so let's draw that there. Like you could just draw. I don't know what they're called. Columns? Erase that part. Maybe use a better color. But you could do something like that to get like some stair railings going, but it won't be seen on the other side, so you have to create it. You'd have to create more tiles. Copy, paste, reverse those, so now you can see them on the other side like that. That's one way of doing it. Okay, so now we could also create a diagonal version as well that we could use. Over here we could just place those tiles there temporarily, and then go into painting, and then something like that. I don't know, that doesn't look quite right, does it? I think maybe it needs to get moved over to the side. So let's do that. Oops. Just kind of cut that by selecting it with the magic wand tool while contiguous is on, and then Control X to kind of cut it. I could paste it, but I don't want to. That just kind of cuts it out. Okay, so I want to move these over there, and then draw that, and then, okay. Actually, should I? Just kind of figure out how you want to place the details. What you think will make it look good. You could always change stuff later if things don't look how you want it to look. See, now there's this missing spot. This is part of the process, figuring out how to draw different things, how to create the stuff. Part of the process is kind of just experimenting, seeing what works. See, there's like this spot right here. I mean, we could make another. Yeah, I think I know what I'm gonna do. So I will select these over here and go into Painting tab, and then select that, cut that out. Use the marquee selection tool. I'm going to select this portion here. I'm going to copy that, paste it, drag it over there, click outside, paste it down, and then just kind of change this up a little bit. And this will act as kind of like a more important pillar, part of the actually we could keep that side over here, I think, like that. Now go back into tileset tab, draw that over here, like that. So now we have this more important part of the staircase. Maybe we could make it thinner. Looks a bit too thick. Just try one more, see if that looks any better like that. That looks alright. And maybe we could use like a different color. Add a little detail. Oops. Like that. Do that. Quickly draw over them without going outside the selection. Then deselect that part. Okay. Then we can just select all of this, copy paste it, reverse the faces, and now we got the other side. Look at that. That's kind of cool. So yeah, and what you could do, you could add these railings up onto the other side here if you want, to the other staircase. And I think I'll leave that for you to try. So I think this will do it for the first video. If you have any suggestions for other stuff that I should create, let me know, and I'll try to create more of these.